Amazing. So thank you very much. I am your co-trainer at Mwalimu Biashara. My name, Paul Edward Mwangi. What am I able to do? I am able to help each and every one of us do three things at Mwalimu Biashara: make money, grow money, and protect your money. So kindly go to the chat section, tell us what industry you are in and the number of years of experience that you have been able to accomplish so that we can be able to continue within the same breath. I can see Solo has already started us off from in the chat section. Thank you so much, Solo. Solo is telling us this is great. I will be dropping off at 8:30, but we'll check the recording. Thank you so much, Solo, for that, for your support. And it's okay. That's okay if you'll be dropping off at 8:30. We hope that within the next 20 or so minutes, we shall be able to give you the proper value and answer one or two questions that maybe you might feel can be able to help you to move forward towards the next thing. What are we discussing today? Today we're discussing something that is very personal, very touchy, why we won't believe the money habits that keep us broke. Yes, that is true. There's something that our financial coach tells us that at the beginning of every year, we majorly have three things that we want to focus on. The first one, I want my life to be better. That is like everyone's golden dream. What do you think? 2025 ilikuwa ngumu. Me, my 2026 is my year. Hallelujah. Amen. And then we come and say, February, kuna watu wameshasema, you know what? I think 2026, it doesn't look as promising. Let me wait for 2027, like our politicians. The second thing that we normally hope for is something called health. I want 2026, or I want this new year, I want to be healthy. That's why we see so many people starting off at the gym very, very passionately. But come February, after 15th, the menu of chocolate and ice creams and burgers, I love burgers, we will be there queuing because at the end of the day, we say that we will be given new bodies in the heavenly kingdom, and that is very much okay. And the third one that we focus on is something called your financial well-being. If you can ask at least 10 people, 8 out of 10 people will tell you, I want this year to be able to make more money. I don't know how, I don't know when it will come, I don't know the logistics of it, but I want to make more money. I want to live better and I want to have better health habits. So let us look at some of the topics or some of the things that keep us in the thing that we call being broke. It is not a happy place to be. And it's something that we are moving away from. So before we start off, I'd like us to take you through the Mwalimu Biashara journey. What does that mean when you join Mwalimu Biashara? And ideally, what are some of the things that we focus on in our Mwalimu Biashara coaching program? Out of the many people that have walked through our doors, we've been able to notice a certain pattern of personal financial growth. And these 10 patterns can be able to help you to move from stage A to stage Z, depending on how beneficial it is for you. So the very first stage you normally look at is your current financial health, which you normally come and do an assessment. This is where my finances are. Are they good? Are they bad? Are they ugly? Are they perfect? Then you go to stage number 2. What is your relationship with money? And that is one of the key focus points that I'm going to be focusing on for this particular webinar and also for this particular month. How do you perceive money? When you see money, what do you think about it? When you're given 1,000,000 shillings today, how will you spend it? So all that goes in and around your relationship with money. And then stage number 3, we look at something called forecasting your plans. And for this one, it's quite particular because each and every person who is in this particular webinar, be it be Solo, be it be Christine, be it be Patricia, be it be me, be it be our financial coach, we all have our plans. How can we be able to help you achieve those plans? Then you go to stage number 4, something called debt. This one is a thorny one. Why? Because many of us quickly come and say, if Kenya has debt, if even the US and everyone within the world has debt, mbona hata mimi nisikuwe na deni? But we are not looking at debt from that angle. We're looking at it from an angle where, is it a liability or is it an asset for you? Then you go to stage number 5, which is something called savings. How can you be able to start saving? Haba na haba, you go and do a kibaba something there in terms of investments. Then you go to investments. What sort of investment vehicles can I be able to project this particular year? We've been seeing so many things happening in the news, KPC and all that, looking at some of the ventures and ways how you can be able to start your investment. And then even as you're looking into investment, we are not blind to the fact that you have to look at something called risk and returns. What is the imbalance of that? How can I be able to balance between the returns that I'm getting with the risk that is associated with it? And then we look at something called retirement and building your investment portfolio. At Mwalimu Biashara, we believe that by the time you're hitting your retirement years, those peak years, the years when you're waking up at a chair, there are two things that are screaming, not the chair, but your back and that particular chair, because you want to see that by the time you're hitting those latter years, those good restful years, you have a very good buffer for you that you won't be able to be a burden to your children, to your society, to the people around you. And then you look at the environment and your finances. We all know what is happening right now, everything that is helter-skelter. Think about people and the companies and the policies and everything that is all around it. What does that mean? We have a political year coming up. What does that mean? We have our mshwari limits, walituongezea. Hallelujah. Thank you. But then what does that mean? Everyone aliongezewa mshwari limit. What does that mean for your finances? Does that mean that now you can go and continue spreading the love of eating chapo smoky out there? And then you look at number 10, the last but not least, we input all the correct money behaviors, and you can comfortably say that we've given you and we have equipped you with the right financial literacy and the right behaviors. Remember, the key thing is habits and behaviors that can be able to help you to attain something called financial freedom. So I normally like to take it back to the audience. So for those of us who are here in this particular webinar, out of the stages from number 1 to number 10, kindly go to the chat section and type which stage do you feel is the most important, which stage is the most crucial for you that you want us to tackle, not even if it's not today, but in subsequent webinars that you're going to be having. I'll be having one eye on the chat section, and then on this other side, allow me to also welcome our financial coach, who I know is going to be giving us something before we tackle into the money habits. But before we invite him, kindly just go to the chat section and type, which number do you feel? Is it number 3 or number 6 or number 9? I think these 3 habits, kidogo, I need to fine tune them. I need special guidance. And then we're going to be telling you more about it as we proceed on with this particular year. But even as we're doing that, if you can be able to hear me, Kenon, kindly feel free. What do you have in mind for us today before we tackle the habits that we would want to focus on?
All right, loud and clear, Ed. Great to have all of us on board. Asante sana for that intro. And it's good to have us on board. We see the veterans, people have joined us here, not for the first time. We are happy to host you once again. Patricia is telling us, help me with debt. She's saying number 4, debt management is the issue. Patricia, you're in the right place. When talking about that, we'll probably throw in 1 or 2 comments around that as we move on. Solo is telling us he's in the hospitality industry for the last 6 years. Asante sana Solo, to be in the hospitality industry for the last 6 years. So even as we wait for this to come into answers to come in, we'll be happy to hear what industry are you in and how long have you worked in total. Christine is telling us she's been doing tourism for the last 8 years. Christine, I've seen your advertisements in Kibeti Community, and for sure you are you're good at what you do. And you say stage 7, I need to understand risk and return. Help me nail this thing called risk and return right there. Great, great, great. Absolutely correct. This is good. So let's then take it up straight as it came. So we did a poll today, or actually yesterday, we started a poll in the Kibeti community, and we asked you, which money habit do you struggle with, or do you need us to talk about? Solo is telling us, by the way, help me with my financial health. Stage number 1, even before you tell me about those other stages, help me understand my current financial health. Solo, we hear you loud and clear, and we'll make sure that some of these things that you brought up here will be handled today. So Ed, you take us to the next slide, which you're talking about a poll that we did. And we're asking ourselves, what is it that you wanted us to talk about? So the results are out. We took the majority. One habit we want to deal with today is the ability to track your money. Nitaangalia baadae. There's a problem there. People are saying, help me break this habit. I want to be able to track my money. I want to know where things are going. I want to be in control, and you're going to deal with that. Other people said, I am saving, but I don't have a clear financial goal. I don't have a direction, as it were. I have the desire, I have the commitment, but there's something amiss. Going somewhere, the road is not very clear, will be helping you today. The other people said, I will spend first and save last. This is a very common one. And today we'll be giving you some very simple tips you can apply so that you don't save when the money remains. You make savings the first thing. And people ask me, what if I can't even afford what I want to do, yet you're asking me to save? Today we'll be giving you solutions to that. Stay to the end. They have the fourth group that said, I will start, but not now. Let me make a little bit more money. Let me move one step forward. Let me get one step ahead. Then I'll be able to do to start this idea of saving. So yes, these are the top 4 that came out tops, and you're going to be spending time talking about these 4. Edward is taking us to the next slide. We talk about the habit number 1. Nitaangalia baadae. And let me tell you how this one looks. Before you start any savings journey, before you start dealing with your finances, remember, it is behavior first. Why do we always talk about behavior at Mwalimu Biashara? Because that is where it rises and falls. And today, habit number 1, where you don't track your money. Now, tracking money is tedious. So there are many ways of doing it. Is it possible to keep checking when I send M-Pesa, when I send this, when I send money back home, when I buy a kachumbari, how do I end up doing this? And you realize at the end of the day, you end up being like this gentleman. Sijui kuliendaje. I have no idea what happened. Look at this statistic that came from the Central Bank of Kenya in Fin Access Survey in 2021. 78% of Kenyans do not track their daily expenses. Very disturbing statistic. Then you ask, why should I even track? Because when you track it, you're able to control it. Think about someone driving a vehicle, and you're driving your vehicle with blindfold. How uncomfortable will that driving be? That's what we're saying. Tracking removes the blindfold from you. Then you're able to look at life, financial life, in a different way, so that you don't every month be a surprise. You don't always get shocked when you wonder what is happening. And then some people wonder, these small expenses are too small. So you're asking me to track leo nikula lunch kama ya subili, 60 bob, whatnot. Those small things add up. Now, we are not asking you to spend all your time counting the small items. Today, I'm going to show you a tool. There's a tool called Kibeti that does that for you. We have a mobile app. It's called Kibeti. And by the way, that will give you ability to track automatically. As long as you've spent using mobile money, whether right now we are working with M-Pesa, soon you're going to onboard other things. Kibeti makes this automation very easy. So you start with a budget and say, let me just track only one thing, because that's the idea. It may not be possible to track everything to start with. It can be overwhelming. Personal finance is a journey. So you start by saying, I want to first of all just track my spending on takeout and how much I spend on my grooming. Could be just those two. Or someone else says, I want to check how much I spend on my fuel or matatu fare or whatever it is. Just select 2 of them. When you go to Kibeti, you just put the budget. Then allow Kibeti some permissions there. Anytime you spend, that transaction is interfaced directly to Kibeti. And then it tells you, so you had said your matatu fare should be 600 shillings a day. Now, when you spend, of course, when the transaction comes, you determine, oh, this was matatu fare. Then Kibeti will compare. You said it's 600 a day, you've already spent 200. Tunabakisha 400. So you're able to track it. That's a tool that we've developed for you. Aaron is going to put the link on the chat. It's a free app. Just join it. There's a bit of it that you pay, but you pay for the premium features, okay? You can try it 1 month, it's only 300 bob, just 300 shillings. Just see what I'm talking about. We have invested heavily to help people deal with this problem. But if you're able to start tracking your money, then you get visibility. Then you start making what we call informed decisions. Great. So that is topic number one, habit number one. You deal with it by making the tracking process seamless and simple for you. We're done with habit number one. Should you have any question or comment, please throw it in the chat. Our eyes will be in the chat to help you with a lot more. Let's go to habit number two, right? Remember habit number one, the next slide Edward is going to show you is our Kibeti app. Right now it's on Android. So if you have an Android device, please go get it on Google Play Store. It is called Kibeti. In case you not have you have an iOS device, we are working very hard to bring it to you. Right now it's not yet ready, but we are working very hard for you to get that one. Are we here to push a product? Ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you, obviously, the money you pay us is important. It pays our rent. That's what I always say. But it's more than that. It's more than that. It is a carefully thought out solution to a pain point, because that's a pain point. Look at what CBK is telling us, 78% of us, and look at the results that came from the poll. So it's a pain. So this is designed to help you breeze through, as it were. You can always recommend someone and we can get to do revenue share. There's a lot you can do on the Kibeti app. I see Edward has already put up the link on the chat. If you don't have it, please get it. Habit number two, I am saving, but I don't have a clear financial goal. And this is how you see it coming your way. So you work very hard and you save 5,000 this month. But then in the next few weeks, you withdraw it. Maybe there's an emergency or not. Now, those emergencies are put in quotation marks, because is it a true emergency? Sometimes you have no target. Tunaishi tu hivyo. Sometimes you can't answer, what exactly am I saving for? Why am I doing this? Why am I going through this pain? What is the trophy at the end? Okay? And sometimes every request feels like an emergency because you have no plan. I mean, have you ever walked around and it's like people know you have money in your pocket? That's when you get those calls. That's when you get money kind of smells. So the idea is, if you don't have a plan, anything is a plan. Kila mtu atakupangia pesa yako. So that's how to start start seeing that there are signs and symptoms that I have that shows kusema ukweli sina mpango. Right? Kenya National Survey on Financial Inclusion 2019 told us that only 32% of Kenyan adults have a specific savings goal. That's disturbing. A specific savings goal. In the next slide, let me give you a few tips on how to deal with this. So the first thing we ask, you adopt this model. Okay, it's called, you have a tip. There's an action you want to take, but you're connecting it to a goal. I'll tell you something. Savings is not easy. Savings is not sweet. Spending is what gives us pleasure. Spending, and that is the happy part. The saving part is the hard part. So you need to connect the action of saving with a goal. These are just examples that you can adopt. Say someone wants to take a holiday at the end of the year. That is the goal. So today is February 4th. I want by 4th of December, I'm on a holiday somewhere. Take even a simple holiday. So you say, how do I help myself achieve that? One way is to wait for that big break to come. But the other way is to make just a simple adjustment. You can either talk about packed lunch. You can talk about airtime. You make a simple adjustment, but consistent. If I spend, say, 1,000 shillings per month on airtime, or 2,000, because maybe nearly 1,000 shillings in Asia mid-month, 1,000 shillings end month. That's 2,000. So I can tell myself, what if I can stretch that 1,000 shillings of bundles? I talk less, I talk on WhatsApp, I do all these things, but it's a pain. But the reason I'm doing all this is because I have a target. I'm looking at taking a holiday at the end of the year. Now, If that happens, please don't play games with your mind. Your mind will remember. Make sure you do it. All right? If it is that 1,000 shillings you're saving, call one travel agent. Tell them, I want to take an SGR to Mombasa. I want a simple Airbnb. And they give you a package of 18,000 shillings. Simple. January. Once you make that saving on 1,000, please send it to the travel agent. That is how you end up saving with a goal. Now, it could be you want to buy a pair of shoes in the next month or two. So you figure out what change can I make? What action can I take so that I'm able to do that? So say, for example, you go to the gym. Any gym in Nairobi, 500, 600 per visit. The gym is nice, great, good. But you tell yourself, instead of going to the gym 3 times a week, let me go maybe 2 times a week or once a week. Then I save that extra 500 shillings. Now, again, there are these solutions. You can go to YouTube and do your own fitness that day. But if you're able to save 500 shillings a week by taking one less gym visit. Now, we are not saying you're not healthy. You still continue being healthy. You're looking for an alternative. That means it's 500 shillings a week. That is 2,000 a month. Then you got your pair of shoes. Now you see savings work when you have a goal. You want to enjoy a night out at the end of the month. I want to go sherehe. I want to go and enjoy it. Nothing wrong with that. So when you're going to shop for stuff, you might say, I must not buy all branded items all the time. Let's talk about clothing. It's okay, I can go to a branded shop and get myself a nice t-shirt or a nice dress or a nice kofia. That's all okay. But once in a while, you can say, let me go secondhand. The reason you're going secondhand is because you're going to save yourself 1,500. You do that twice, my friend, you have your money to go enjoy your night at the end of the month. You see the pattern. It is a goal that's written through an action. You want to change tires for your car. That will be easily, what? 10,000 per tire. Maybe unataka kusave mbili. For now, I'm looking for 20,000 shillings to change tires for my car. So you can apply an action. And by the way, these are just examples. You could say, I want to take a holiday, but instead of staying out in a 5-star hotel, let me stay in an Airbnb. It will serve the same purpose. I can even be going to that main hotel for meals anyway. You're getting creative. You end up saving enough money to get your tires. Next one, you could be talking about, I'm going shopping. And in this shopping, I want to enjoy myself. I know I don't start kujifinyilia. There's a part I want to buy that chocolate that costs me 600 shillings because that's the one I want. Now, listen, there's nothing wrong with that. So when you're shopping, you decide, let me shop in bulk. It will save me 20 shillings here, 44 shillings here, 19 shillings here, 16 shillings here. Then you got your 600. Listen, please enjoy your chocolate. Take it and feel good while shopping. The pattern is clear. Savings is difficult. You just need to get into a system. I want to pay for my children's holiday program. There's a holiday program, maybe they're good in football or someone is good in ballet, all those things we do. But how do I do that and yet I'm supposed to even be paying fees the next month? So you look at it this way. When you go out, now this is probably a family setting, you're going out with your children, the mall that you pick to attend, to go to, means a lot. There are some malls which have so many extras, and the people building those malls are very aware. The customers are your children. Now, there's nothing wrong about treating your children. Please don't get me wrong, but you're saying, if I go to a basic, simple mall, if I go to Carrefour to buy sugar, it will be just that. So I choose the mall you're going to go because I know if I go to the extra mall, I'm going to spend maybe 3,000 more because I don't know, candy floss is here and whatnot. So you plan ahead as a parent. Then you're doing that to invest in the same children because you want to give them a holiday program. Ladies and gentlemen, the model is clear. The best way to get these savings right is connected to a goal. Give yourself a reason. Edward was saying that you start your gym and in 3 months, 3 weeks imeanguka, but If you always start with the goal in mind, it actually motivates you to get where you want to go. And that is habit number 2. Remember, we are taking any questions, comments. We want to hear them on the chat, and then we'll be looking out for them. For those of us who are going to be listening to this recording, please feel free to drop us an email, send a WhatsApp if you have any question that you want us to talk about. Habit number 3, I will spend first and save last. Sometimes we do this very unconsciously. So when you get your money, whether you're in business, say you have a business person and you've gotten this deal that got you 60,000 shillings. The way we are wired to think about the landlord, nimelipa rent. Then you are wired to think about the teacher, nimelipa fees. Then you think about so many other people and other things. I'm thinking about my baba, nimeenda kunyolewa. I'm thinking about my kinywaji joint, nimekunywa kinywaji. I'm thinking about, we are wired to think about different things before we think about ourselves. Now today we want to change that. Okay? How do you see it coming? Salary comes, bills are paid, shopping is done, I'll save what's left. What's left is zero, sometimes negative. Okay, I saw someone talking about debt in the comments. You intend to save, but the spending always wins, because that is how human beings are nurtured. So to change a habit, you have to start doing things a different way. Before you start borrowing by 15th, when your money comes, pay yourself first. Take the risk. Now, listen, it is not the amount, and we are not asking you to try something impossible. If you try something impossible, it will be discouraging and it may not last. Tell yourself, I'll be operating with something called percentages, not the amount, percentage. So that you say, anytime I get my money, the first 5% will go to my savings, to me. So without asking anybody any question, when that money comes, if it is 20,000, 5% of 20,000 is 1,000. Do not ask anybody a question. Take 1,000 shillings, sink it in a money market fund. Don't ask questions, don't reason, don't rationalize. I'll tell you one thing, life will go on. Life will go on. So you're left with 19,000. Live your life within that 19,000. So when someone tells me, Canon, what if I cannot, I go back, attack their 1,000 shillings? Even if it was 29,000 instead of 19, if the system and the habit is not built, you'll end up in the same place. Look at what Kenya National Bureau of Statistics is telling us in a survey of 2013. The average Kenyan saves only 12% of income. The recommended is 20. Me, I'm talking about 5. I'm talking about 5 to have a place to start. Have a place to start. If you can't get to 20, build it to 20. All right? But let's look at a few solutions. So then, how do we overcome this issue? Savings is not something you do. Savings is someone that you become. I'll say that again. Savings is more than doing. I don't do savings. I become a saver. So if you're able to get that one right first, and then start wiring those habits within yourself, and not being an extremist, okay? But you have tuned your mind such that you are a saver first. You win that battle in your mind, okay? Then remember, like I've said, because spending is pleasurable, visualize your goals. Like I've said, pay yourself first. Now, let me talk about this thing called a personal allowance. I like this a lot. I talk about it in most of my discussions with clients. A personal allowance is an amount that you take to spend on yourself guilt-free. You're not paying a debt. You are not paying school fees. You're not paying your landlord. You're just spoiling yourself. The idea is not to make that amount very big, but it's to reward yourself. The human mind, the human body, the human system about finances appreciate some things. Unajua kama personal allowance umesema ni 500 and you take it and you honestly spend on yourself. There's some times when you want to buy that extra thing. Yes, any kind of shoe will work, but you want this particular one that has a label. You want this one that has this kind of wedge. That's the one I want, and that's for myself. Now, when you get that thing for yourself, everything else in your system will start cooperating with you. So when you start saving, now you're clear. You're not fighting yourself. You've already saved and gotten yourself a personal allowance. The other thing that it does is it safeguards the rest of the items. Because if I've already gotten my personal allowance of 500 or 5,000 or 50,000, whatever the number is for you, then you are less tempted to rationalize. Say, si pesa ni yangu mimi ndio nimetafuta. Okay? Hii tutasave mpaka lini na tunaenda, kila mtu atakufa. That is okay to rationalize, but you reduce that kind of behavior after you have spent on yourself on a personal allowance. Right? So that is a solution around trying to save with a goal and trying to save with purpose. Okay? And that part you're saying that, so you see what happens is when mwezi is corner and it's 19th and you're expecting money on 26th and you have nothing, you've not lost the battle. You've not lost the battle. You've gotten visibility. You've not lost the battle. You've gotten visibility. You know what to do next month. Of course, the basic thing around budgeting works. Go to Kibeti, you'll be able to budget there, right? Very well. But the idea is pesa kuisha, ama it should not catch you by surprise that it is now 19th and I have no money left. Because at the beginning of the month, you are aware. You're aware this is how much I spend here, this is how much I spend here, this is what I spend here. So it should not catch you by surprise that you're broke. Budgeting helps you figure out that by 19th, I'll become broke. What does that do? 3 things. It helps you start reducing your expenses or increasing your income, or the best of them, doing both. So being broke should not catch you by surprise. Budgeting should help you through that process. I know today we are just talking, we'll be having questions coming up. If you have any question, we'll be leaving you some minutes towards the end. That's why I want to start winding up maybe on the next slide. That was the habit number 3 that you're dealing with. There are other tips that you can think about. There's something called the 24-hour rule. If something is non-essential, I'm not talking about food and transport, those are okay. If something is non-essential and you don't do it often, and it's sometimes big, anything about, in fact, it could even be anything, depending on the kind of money that you're earning, anything that is more than 10% of your income, any spend that is more than 10% of your income, you need to think about it this way. We put 500 there just as a placeholder. So don't just buy. Once you see something, just decide to wait. Now, that's the longest wait in your life because people tell me, nitapata imeenda. Someone will have taken it. It is the last one on offer. I'll tell you, the world is big. You will still find another one. But just think through, have the courage. I saw that watch, or I saw that cell phone, or I saw that thing. This is the one. Yes, it is 10,000 shillings more, but this is the one. The best thing to do is wait for 24 hours. When you go home, you will palpate, you will be everywhere, but you're saying there's something that will go away if the item is not essential, or there's something that will still stay. So after 24 hours and you feel this thing is something I still want, you've dissociated yourself from the emotion of buying and you let your mind kick in. Please go for it the following day. That's one way. There's something else called the 48-hour rule. I like this a lot. The 48-hour rule says, when you get your money, spend it all in 2 days. How? How that works is you already know where your money is going to go to. You've already planned it. Whether it is pesa kidogo, I'm a lot of money, doesn't matter. The idea is you already are aware what you're going to do when the money comes. That's usually the best place to make decisions. When that money comes, please don't dilly-dally. Do exactly what you thought you're going to do. That's called the 48-hour rule. You better be left with no money in your pocket or on your M-Pesa. The money that helps you, I keep saying, the money that helps you is the one that has done what it was supposed to do, not the one in your pocket. So that's another rule you can apply to help you get around this habit. This habit of, I don't know what happens. I'm not able to make ends meet. Great. We go to the last habit, then we can go to Q&A. The last habit was, I will save later, not now. I need just slightly more. I need to wait for that promotion. I'll save when I get a raise. I'll save when I have 100K, that's when to start. This 60K, no. I can't start. I will, or I will budget when I earn 200K a month. Or as you're doing that, time is flying. The time is ticking. Nothing changes. The income will increase. But the problem is, if you don't have the right calibration in your mind, you'll always find yourself chasing the wind. It is the next item. It is, sometimes they become excuses. All right? World Bank, Kenya Economic Update did a survey on household consumption patterns. They said for every 10,000 income increases, Kenyans increase spending by 12,000. How ridiculous can things get? So your income increases by 10%, but your spending increases by 12%. There is something called lifestyle inflation. These are things we cover in our personal financial management courses in detail. But let me bring it here. There's something called lifestyle inflation. That if anytime your income increases or your mind senses there'll be an increase in income, we start spending even before the money comes. We start getting creative even before the money comes. That's how we are wired. Of course, behavioral science will give you all the kind of things I'm talking about. This is how to counter this one. Anytime you get an increment, remember the way you are today, you're living, okay? I'm assuming you're not living in debt. You're able to live within your means. There's a bad month, there's a good month. But you're finding your way. You live a certain place, you move around a certain way, you eat in certain places, you wear certain things, your children are in certain schools. There's a way you've managed to get yourself somewhere. Okay. If you get a huge fortune, maybe even your life triples, your income increases, and we are, by the way, we are wishing that for us. But let me advise something. For any increment you get, divide it by 2. Okay? So maybe the increment was a mere 2,000. It was a cost of living adjustment at work. Okay? Or you got an extra client who's paying you 16,000 extra per month. Take that amount of money divided by 2. In the case of 2,000, you put 1,000 on one side, 1,000 on the one side. The first 1,000, please put it in a savings and investment product. There are many like that in the market. These other 1,000, please spoil yourself. Drive a bigger car. Okay? Move your children to a more expensive school. Move houses, start eating in certain places with half of what was increased. If your increment is 200,000, please make sure 100,000 goes to savings and investment and use the other 1,000 shillings to lavish yourself. That way, then you're able to start taking control of this problem. Okay, that means you can start where you are. But on the next slide, maybe there are a few more points I want to say before then we close this session. There's a test called the 20% off test. Now we are thinking on the reverse. If for whatever reason, your income was adjusted 20% downwards, so you're earning 60,000. 20% of 60,000 is 12,000. So you start earning 48,000. What adjustments would you make? If the figure was 150,000, 20% of 150,000 is 30,000. So the figure moves from 150,000 to 120,000. And we are not praying for that. But I want us to think it from that perspective. What adjustments would you make? Of course, I have true stories. There's a time I was employed at a time. My pay was reduced by 30%. I remember 30%. Of course, we were given later, but those few months when our pay was reduced by 30%, I realized there are many ways that we can save. There are many ways, there are many changes you can make. They're called adjustments. You end up realizing, oh, by the way, I must not always drive. I can actually move from one place to another using a matatu. Sometimes it's even easier. But because I have this vehicle and I have a vehicle, I'd rather take that vehicle and go to the kiosk and come back. I'm just giving an example. When you start thinking that, you start making adjustments. So we tell you, start making those adjustments before the cut. Actually, don't even reduce your income. Let your income increase by another 20. But it's called removing. What are the excesses? What is the extra fat you can start removing? Just assume it was reduced by 20%, and that might give you a direction on where to go. Again, start where you are principle. It means that small moves. In fact, when you try big moves, they rarely work. When you try make sudden abrupt changes in your personal financial management journey, it is not sustainable. What you need is a system. It is not an amount. Today, we have a group that we have put together for people who want to develop a system. We're giving you a promise. Are you able to save 5% of your spending this year? Are you able to increase your income by 15% this year? Are you able to change one money habit a month? That group is called Kibeti Money Movers. Everyone is going to put the link on the chat there. If this interests you, it will cost you 1,000 shillings a month, just 1,000 shillings. But then we get serious about getting a system that works. We've tested that system before and it actually works. Now we are bringing it to the market. Do you have 1,000 shillings? Put it there. If you like what you see, let's keep going. If you don't like what you see, we promise you we will let go, because we want to create a system. So Ed is going to put a link there. If you can, if you just request, we'll request, you make your payment and we let you into the group. The micro progress strategy. Again, small steps are the ones that get it there. If you're able to make big leaps, that's okay. But the system that you're talking about helps you start to make those steps in a sustainable way. We're going to do it the whole year. It's not just a quick win and then you stop. When you wait for perfection, it becomes a problem. Take ridiculously small steps. So ladies and gentlemen, we're getting to the end of this webinar. You can listen to this recording as and when you have some time. I see Edward has put that chat a link there. I know some of us in this group are already there. If you're not there, click on there. We should be able to connect you to a way to have a system that works. There's an upcoming event. Susan is telling me to explain the 48-hour rule again. Susan, I see that question is coming up. We'll explain that in a short while. Please put your questions and comments right there, so I'll tackle all of them together. But Susan, I see your question there. I am coming to it. There's an event coming up this weekend. It's on Saturday. It is happening at Sandbox at CMS Africa. Again, please come and let's talk about money and relationships. Whether the relationship is with a chama or with your spouse or with a group, we are doing this for you. By the way, by getting into the Kibeti Money Movers group, the same 1,000 shillings is the only thing we are asking you. These are bonus for you. You're going to come for this meeting for free. But we can talk a lot more about our relationships and money. Edward, I think that's about it about the presentation. Unless I'm forgetting something, then I can start taking questions, starting with the one from Susan. But Ed, you let me know if there's anything else left on the slides, right? Let's talk to Susan. Susan is saying the 48-hour rule again. So Susan, what you're saying, and now let me expound that. When you get your money, spend it all in 48 hours. The only way that is possible, Susan, is if you have prearranged or predetermined where this money will go. So you obviously need to have a budget. I know that I need to spend this on this. I have made my budget nicely. Down there it comes to 147,000. That's what I need. So when I get 150,000, spend ruthlessly. Take the money where it was supposed to go. You'd rather be left with the 3,000 shillings, Susan. Now your money is working for you. So you start with a plan, but when it's time to implement that plan, you do it ruthlessly. You do it completely without, because the thinking happens before the money comes. I'll say that again. The thinking happens before the money comes. When the money comes, you and I, we are not able to, I don't know what happens. So Susan, the idea is you plan it early, and when the money comes, don't hesitate. Just spend it. The money that helps you is the money that has done what it was supposed to do, as opposed to money that is sitting in your pocket. Susan, let me know if that is clear on the 24-hour rule. Great. So I see Edward has already put the link for the weekend. If this interests you, please go ahead and book. We'll be having a session. It's a nice morning, Saturday morning at 9:30. Bring a friend, copy that link somewhere in case you want to do it later. Let's come and let's talk. We usually meet. We enjoy breakfast. Breakfast is on us. And then we get to interact in a more intimate way. We don't want to rush things. This gives you access to that session. It gives you access to the Kibeti money movers, where there's a working system that helps you get to the things that we are promising you. Susan, I see on your comment, you say very clear, thanks. I like that, Susan. Susan, I'll give you an extra round for asking that question. I will give you a deal. Susan, I'll speak to you. Edward will speak to you after this meeting to give you a good deal to help you implement that 48-hour rule. Right. So that's it from us. I see we have 5 minutes on the clock. I will give it back to Edward, and we'll take back, will lead us towards the closure or taking any questions that we might have. I've been your host, Kenon Bai, co-founder of Mwalimu Biashara. Happy to help you through your personal financial management journey. Over to you, Edward.
All right. Thank you so much for that amazing session, Kenon. I think we've really learned a lot in terms of the money habits. I was actually taking notes because I do believe that they affect most of us, including myself, and we are still in the journey of trying to elevate our finances. So asanteni sana for those who are able to join in this amazing session. What we are currently doing is just trying to elevate our personal financial journey. You can contact us on our emails, that is info@mwalimubiashara.com. And for some of us, I know they've asked us where we are located. We are right here at the capital, at the heart of Nairobi, Kenya, that is in Kilimani, CMS Africa House. And we are under one large umbrella called the Sandbox community. What that means is we are a group of experts who are in different spheres of influence. They can be in law, they can be in marketing, they can be in the digital space, and we are all under one umbrella called the Sandbox, and that's where we normally are, and that's where we are able to give value, and we're able to help you in your personal endeavors and also in the corporate endeavors. Asanteni sana, it's been nothing short of amazing. I hope you have learned as much as I have. Thank you, Susie. Susan, we will be reaching out to you with the sweetener that Kenon has actually shared for you, and also for Christine. If you have any questions, I know we had Solo and we had a couple of more people who joined in, but they dropped off along the way. We want to thank you so much for sticking at the very, very end, and we shall be having something for you at the very end of it. For those who are going to be listening to this recording, kindly feel free to reach out to us. We will be sharing the link to the weekend event, that is the Kibeti Money Movers, which will be happening this Saturday at CMS Africa Kilimani. For only 999 Kenya shillings. there is some amazing breakfast awaiting you and some amazing conversations. Because if we do not have these conversations, then when and where are we going to be having these conversations? I have been your assistant host or your co-host, Asanteni Sana. Thank you so much. And we're looking forward to see you in the next one. Let's continue these conversations in our Kibeti community. And also feel free to join the Kibeti Money Movers, because that's where the real magic is happening. Asanteni Sana. Do enjoy the rest of your night and see you on Saturday. Have a good one. Thank you.